Well, welcome everybody. We sat in a similar position some 6 months ago, and I didn't think we were going to be here together so soon, but I think we all know why. I'd first and foremost like to welcome Dean to the club. I think I've been a long admirer of Dean, both as a player and been watching his coaching career, and I'd very much welcome him to Wolves for what I hope is a very long period of time. Before I talk about Dean, I would like to go on record to thank Stoller for his time at the club. Stoller is an excellent manager with an excellent pedigree. He's been very successful in the past. Unfortunately, it didn't work out here. We all know what happened and the results, and more importantly, the performances in recent time have fallen well below the standards that we expect here at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and so unfortunately we had to part company after Saturday's exit at the hands of Luton Town. We had an impromptu board meeting at Luton. Myself and Jez and John Bowater and John Goff. We discussed the situation, and the board collectively and unanimously made the decision at the time. Jez then contacted Stoller after the trip back, and was going to arrange to meet him, but in fact Stoller said, well, there's no point in meeting, we know what it's about, and the conversation happened, and so therefore Stoller left with immediate effect. I phoned John Ryan on Saturday night, John Ryan being the chairman of Doncaster Rovers, for permission to speak to Dean, and we met on Sunday morning, and we had a pretty exhausting conversation yesterday, which resulted in us making an offer to Dean and Dean accepting. I spoke again to John Ryan, and I've got to say at this point, I would like to express my appreciation and thanks to John Ryan and the Doncaster board for the very professional way in which they handled the situation, and I wish them good luck, and I know Dean will say exactly the same in their promotion chase. As for Dean, I've known Dean for some time. I've known of him more than knew him, but we did, our paths did cross at Wrexham. I don't know how many of you know, but I was involved with the rescue of Wrexham 6 or 7 years ago with Jeff Moss, and put some finance in to save the club at the time, and so I consequently had a lot to do with Wrexham. Jeff was the owner of Wrexham, who's a very good friend of mine. It was Jeff that brought Dean in, and so I knew him from his Wrexham days. I followed his career before that, as when he was assistant manager to John Tashak in Wales, and of course prior to that, where he was first team coach at Newcastle and Blackburn, and throughout his playing career, he was a great player. I think he was 37 when you finished playing.
I haven't retired yet.
No, I saw him on the pitch today, on the training ground today. I can see he's got a good chance of picking himself for Friday night's game. He can still belt a ball in the net, as I saw earlier on. But so Dean comes with a maybe not huge managerial experience, but a huge footballing experience. He's played at every level, 75 caps for Wales. He's played for Liverpool and Villa, and he's played for several other English clubs, Galatasaray, Benfica. So he comes with international, and more importantly for Wolves, he comes with first-class experience at every level of English football. And it was having worked down at a place like Wrexham, which is very grassroots job. I think it's great. It's a great training ground for the higher level, and he's played at the highest level. So and he's a great guy, and so we had absolutely no hesitation in going straight for Dean. Thankfully, he was very keen to come. So as I said, we tied things up yesterday, and he was immediately at the training ground this morning and took his first session this morning, and I think I can say that the players very much appreciated the fact that he was getting in and has introduced his style of training and coaching.
I'm just really proud to be manager of the club. It's a great club. I've got a bit of disappointment in the back of my mind after leaving the players I've had to leave. I persuaded 13, 14 of them to sign for me in the summer. So I've got a little bit of that in the back of my mind, but I couldn't turn this opportunity down. It's such a great club, and I want to manage at the highest level, and I'm ambitious and I'm determined to try and get the club back into the Premier League. That's my brief, and I'm not fazed by it because I think we've got good enough players, and I'll give it everything I've got and try and pass on all the things I've learned to the players, and hopefully we can start getting some right results straight away. And you never know, if we can string 3 or 4 wins together, we can start looking at the league table completely different. So I'd like to thank Jez and Steve for giving me the chance. I worked for a great chairman at Doncaster, John Ryan. I can't speak highly of him enough. And Jeff Moss was an equally great bloke. So I'm hoping Steve's going to be the same. But I think I can get on with him. We've met briefly a while back, but this is really the first time I've got to speak to him Sunday, and I think I can definitely form a relationship with him, and that's what's needed. From the groundsman to the girls who make the food, the supporters, everybody's got to pull in the same direction. And in my experience, if you don't get that, you can't be successful. So although I'm coaching the team, I also have to try and get everybody pulling in the right direction so that we're all playing a part. And it's a great club, as I said. We've got some great players, and there's no reason that the team can't climb up the league and get into the next league.
Is this the biggest challenge? It's the biggest club you've been at. Is it the biggest challenge of your management career so far?
No, I think I was at Newcastle and went to Wrexham. I was coaching Alan Shearer and Michael Owen, Shola Amiobi and Chopra were the 4 strikers I was coaching one day. And I was also working with Wales with Gareth Bale and Bellamy and the likes of them. And then Jeff Moss asked me to help him out at Wrexham, and I said yes. And once I got there, I realised there's only 3 ways out. You either get it right, you get sacked, or you resign. And I was determined I had to get it right, because I didn't think there was any way back. If I don't get this right, and we had no money, we were eating the food on the pre-match meals on the bus on the way to the game, couldn't afford hotels. Some of the players were playing for nothing, and it took me 2.5 years to get the team right. If you've got some money, it takes you less time to do it. But that was the biggest challenge, and that will stand me in good stead forever. It's easy managing when you've got pots full of money and you can put things right. I couldn't replace the players I had to keep working with them. So that was the biggest challenge, but I've learned so much, and I've worked with some great managers which have helped as well. But this is a challenge, and I'm going to enjoy it. There's no point in doing it if you don't enjoy it. I may as well sit in the garden. I'm up for it. I come in this morning and I'm on a mission, personal mission myself, to get it right, and that's what drives me on, not getting it right. So I'll do everything I can to get it right.
Has Steve told you you've got pots of money here then?
No, nothing. No. Look, we've got a lot of players, and I'm going to have to be a bit imaginative in what I do, and I'm going to have to assess the squad. I'm not just going to say we need this, we need that. I'm going to assess the squad. The players who I pick on Friday are going to get the first bite of the cherry. They get the first opportunity to show me that they want to be here, and they've got to grab it. And if we keep winning from Friday on, it makes my job a bit easier. But if I see weaknesses in the squad, which I think I've got an inclination now that we are a bit weak in certain areas, then we'll try and do something about it and try and get the best players in we can.
You've had a chance to train with the squad today. What's your message to them been?
The message has been what they've had is like going to the best party you've ever been and waking up with a hangover and you can't get rid of it. And they've got to get rid of it. Wolves, 2 or 3 years back, were a club that was always up against it in every Premier League game, and they knew they were up against it. They rolled their sleeves up. They got the ball back as quick as they could. They were hard to play against, very difficult to play. You knew you were in for a tough game. They always had the effort and enthusiasm to fall back on, even if they weren't playing well. And then you get relegated into the league below, and you become the big team in that league, and you think you're going to beat everybody in the league. And there's teams like Peterborough in the league who are on small budgets, and if you're not right mentally, you get beat by anybody. So we've got to get that mentality out of the way. We've got to make sure that we go into a game knowing that if the opposition have a free rein, they're going to beat us. And hopefully the talent in the squad, if you go in with that mentality, the talent will eventually come through. But if you haven't got the other bit, like what happened on Saturday at Luton, anybody can beat you. How can Luton beat Wolves? Not right mentally going into the game, or lacking confidence. So I predicted that might happen because I've been at that level, and the managers set the teams up. They got nothing to lose, and they set the teams up to cause an upset. And if you don't take your chances and they have a good day, you get beat. But we've got to make sure if we're not having a good day, that we don't let the ball in our net as regular as we are. And that requires players who've got a bit of pride, a bit of determination, and we all want to play when we got the ball. Everybody wants to play when they got the ball. We've got to have some players who want to play when we haven't got the ball, and they're determined to fight for the club. And that's the message I'd put over, really, in a nutshell.
What are you doing with backroom stuff? I mean, there was a clear out before you went with along with Solasol. What are your plans with that in mind?
Brian Carey's coming, who was going to be my assistant, who was started his career at Man United and then went to Leicester. Who's my right-hand man, and I trust him thoroughly. He's a good coach and a great bloke who's fair with everybody, and the players will respect him. And I've got Mal Purchase coming, who's going to help on the fitness and strengthening side of things. And obviously the club's got a structure in place. Managers come and go, and the club have kept a structure in place that they want to be consistent with. So I'm quite happy to work along with that. I see my job out on the training pitch, coaching the players, getting them motivated and getting them winning games for the club.
And finally from me, you said that the discussion you guys have had is about promotion back to the Premier League. Have you talked about timescales?
No, I think like looking at the league table, when I'm not getting carried away. Looking at the league table, we're up against it where we are, but 3 results, and it's completely different. If you win in any league, no matter where you are and what position you're in the league, if you win 3 games on the trot, you're right up there. And I think we're 9 points off where we want to be right now. But there's plenty of time to go, and I think the players have got to now realise, stop feeling sorry for yourself, stop blaming everything else, get out on the pitch, get the club some results, and get the club back where it belongs.
Do you sense that the Wolves players are crying out for clarity in terms of what's expected of them right now?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really bothered what's happened in the past. I've started today. I've got my own way of doing things, and I know it works. And I can speak to players with ease, so I can explain things to them. And I've got a plan when we've got the ball, and we've got a plan when we haven't got the ball. And it's not rocket science. So I'll be giving them my message. I don't care what's happened in the past. I'll be giving them my message, and if they want to come along with it, they will. If they don't, they won't be here long. So I'll get players in who will, because I know what's required, and all I'm asking for is that you give me everything you've got, because if you give me everything you've got, I'll forgive you for all the things, all the weaknesses in your game, and the supporters will forgive you. What the fans, and especially the Wolves fans, won't accept is if you're not giving everything you've got. They won't forgive you for anything. If you're lazy and you're having a bad time, they won't forgive you. If you're 100%er and you're having a bad time, they'll give you 10 games to get out of it. And that's the same at most clubs. And that's the same with me. I'll forgive you.
hugely popular in the Midlands as a player yourself, and you will know very clearly just what a massive club Wolverhampton Wanderers is.
It is, yeah, and I remember playing it. I remember playing here and not being able to hear my teammates speak. The noise, just before kick-off, the noise was that loud. The supporters are passionate. As I said, it's a massive club. There's hopefully we can get 30,000 in here, and I know the chairman's going to build another part of the ground on so we can get even more in. And we've just got to get back into the Premiership. That's where the party is, get in the Premiership and then keep the club in there. And the longer we're in this league, the more difficult it gets.